What's up, everybody? Circus here coming at you with another Negative1 video. Yes, another one, because it is demanded by the crowd that Negative1 show up before the KC Cup. How you doing, buddy?
Doing well. Glad to be here as always.
On the screen right now, I have you playing in the KC Cup Stage 1 right now. Just a little FYI. You're playing Karakuri's. Karakuri's going to be a strong deck this time around?
I think I don't think they'll be as strong as I first thought they would be, but I think they'll definitely be viable.
Uh, but it's a best of one format. Aren't they going to be pretty strong?
All right. So maybe I'll go over it some other time, but I think Karakuri are really good in the meta that we have, um, just like the tournament decks meta, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak. And it's really among the tournament decks is really the best in a best of one. However, I think there are some other decks outside of the tournament, sphere that could potentially join KC Cup like meta.
Well, with it just being best of one, no side deck, I mean, Karakuri shouldn't have to worry about people playing like system down or something like that, right?
Yeah, so that's one of the main benefits of Karakuri for this format.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely, you don't have to worry about side deck cards, but you can also focus on your game plan of if you go first, you're just gonna have an overwhelming advantage, and then having like auto wins in a KC Cup format is really beneficial.
Okay. Now we just saw you brick pretty heavily on stream. Is that a real issue for Karakuri?
Yeah, I think re-bricking or just you draw your hand, you restart, and then you brick again. That's gonna be um, it's gonna be a concern. It's definitely gonna be one of the hurdles you're gonna have to accept while playing Karakuri. Um, in the KC Cup, there are things that can get on your nerves, and you if you let re-bricking get on your nerves, it'll definitely hurt you in the long run. But
Okay. Is it enough where it's gonna throw off your win percentage?
I think if you really stick to Karakuri and if you just Zen mode,
Mm-hmm.
something really unlucky happens and you just like pass over it, all right, no problem. I got sacked. Okay, next game. If you're able to do that, you can do really well with Karakuri, but I think there will be a degree of if like getting unlucky, oh, I rebricked. Oh, I rebricked again. Oh, I rebricked again. If that sort of thing can really tilt you, you're gonna playing Karakuri is gonna give you a bad time.
So if you're gonna play Karakuri, you have to have patience.
A
Or
lot of patience, yeah.
okay. All right. So you mentioned some rogue decks, I guess. Maybe you said decks that are not super competitive in a tournament format that might do well. Uh, to what are you referring, sir?
I think there's not a real I don't think there's an official term for it, but I would call them the aggro decks.
Aggro decks.
Yes.
Why do you call them
So
that? Are they aggressive?
yes, so the aggro decks are generally focused on winning very fast and generally winning and like just reaching the goal as fast as possible.
Mm-hmm.
You look at like a control deck, and their idea is to control the pace of the game. And then eventually, at some point, they summon their win condition, and then they win the game. The goal with an aggro deck is that you just race to the finish. If you look at the decks that you would consider aggro are like Dragoonity, Cyber Dragons, Lunalights, like these sorts of decks. They're not really concerned with the control, oh, I draw a card, I set one, all right, go ahead. They don't care
Right.
about that. They're just trying to win, just put a big body and hit your opponent in the face with a ton of damage onto the next game.
Okay. But you said Dragoonity, so that was obviously a joke, so I'll start laughing now. Ha 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 ha. Dragoonity, really?
I think I don't think Dragoonity will be like the primary threat. I think Dragoonity might it's not as strong as some of the other aggro decks, but I think it's definitely something to expect just because any deck that can still run True Nade is a potential excuse me, is a potential deck that people will just try to cheese wins with.
But I can only think of two people in the entire world that might play that deck, and that's Night Fox and Lord of Scrubs. But outside of them, you've actually heard people might play that deck? Is that true?
I've There is a chance that people might start playing it just because True Nade is a really strong card.
So it might be a third or fourth person in the entire world that
Yeah.
might play the deck. Okay.
Yeah, say like a solid two people might pick it up.
Wow. That would literally double the size of the player base. That's amazing. So Cyber Dragons, why Cyber Dragons? They fell off. They've come back a little bit in the power rankings. They're getting top eights here and there. Is it just because they can blow up the board quick and go for game?
Yeah, Cyber Dragons are another deck that it's like um you can play 5 games in 5 minutes.
Right.
Mm. You can draw your hand, you summon core, you set 3 or whatever, and then your opponent draws their hand, and then a lot of the time they know they can't win, so they just scoop, or they'll like set cards, and then you make a play that blows up the board, and then you win immediately because Rampage just attacks 3 times.
Okay.
So there's a lot of like, how should I say, reduced game states where it's like you either win or you lose immediately. And that sort of speed, even if it's not the highest win rate, it's really effective in a KC Cup.
Do you know how many people are getting their Cyber Dragon deck ready now because you just said that? They're like, I'm just gonna get people surrendering. That's how I'm gonna move up in the KC Cup.
Well, the reason why Cyber Dragons aren't successful in a tournament format is generally their consistency. So Cyber Dragons are another deck that might struggle with like not opening very well for multiple games in a row. Um,
But as long as they can win 51% of the time and you play 800 games, you're guaranteed a top 100 spot, right?
I think I don't know. This is I don't want to say hearsay, but this is alleged that one of the previous KC Cups, a Cyber Dragon player played like 900 games and got either 11th or 10th place
Oh my
global.
God. That is
Yeah.
ridiculous. That is crazy. I couldn't imagine playing that many games. When do you even find the time? Even if you're playing five, like one game a minute. I mean, that's still quite a few games, don't you think?
Yeah, but if you do try to abuse a strategy like that, it's going to be one of those aggressive decks that
Right.
you draw your cards, you either win or lose. Like that game speed is very effective in the KC Cup format, which is just not something you can get away with in a tournament.
Well, you could try. You could try,
You
but it
can
probably would
try,
work.
but it's like by the nature of these decks, you are going to brick sometimes, and like
Hmm.
in the tournament the goal is really to not lose.
Right. Whereas Casey
Like
Cup, you can lose 49% of the time
yeah. In a tournament, like the idea is to win, but really the goal is to not lose.
at
Or
all. Yeah.
yeah. So it's like you can kind of you can drop some games, but if you lose 2 games in a row, then it's like you're out of the tournament.
Right.
Whereas in Casey Cup, you can lose 10 games in a row, and guess what? You're still in the tournament.
As long as you win the next 11, you're ahead.
Yep.
You're ahead.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I was gonna say, so next, Luna Lights. You don't know how many people you just made so happy right now because I think Luna Lights is becoming that besides Shiranui, that new player deck that maybe your friend on Reddit told you about. You know what I mean? I'm new to the game. What deck should I get? And they say Luna Lights because you get Light Sworns, you can do all that stuff. So Luna Lights, I think a lot of people have them. I think a lot of people are ready to play them.
Yeah, so Lunalights is another one of those aggro decks that can kind of just win quickly because of how, I don't want to say cheesy, but it really is just like wins a lot of the time.
Well,
Like
you just
people
throw that
will,
saber dancer out there and say, "Come on, hit me."
yeah, like saber dancer they can't target, and cat dancer
Mm-hmm.
against a lot, like a lot of the meta strategies, so to say, are like synchro decks. So you look at um, Karakuri, you look at Shiranui, you look at Crystron's. These are synchro decks, summoning from the extra deck regularly.
Yeah.
And if there's an extra deck monster, that makes Lunalight Fusion better. And because of that, then they can like cheese wins with the Lunalight Fox or Crimson Fox.
Hashtag free the fox. Free the fox.
And so once again, Lunalights are not that consistent. In order to do any plays, they need to see their fusion, and
Mm-hmm.
you only have 3 fusions in the deck. And you can also like search the fusion with a combination of Emerald Bird and Yellow Martin. However, that's only like a given percentage, so you're only seeing um, if you're only able to really play like maybe 70-ish percent, maybe 80-ish percent of your games. But lose because you can't do anything doesn't matter in a KC Cup. As long as you're
Right.
netting, like your net gain is what matters,
Right.
essentially.
Okay. So just a personal question. You're playing Crystron's. You got to go over that saber dancer. Are you just done? You just scoop. You're just done.
Um,
Everything you have
well, that's
targets, right?
not exactly. Um, there are ways decks can deal with the aggro decks.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, if Crystrons are to play against Lunalights, they summon Amatrix. It switches the Saber Dancer to defense, and then if they activate Crystron Impact, it makes the defense 0.
Mm-hmm.
So if they do that, they're able to get over with ease. So
What about Karakuri? What does Karakuri do to get rid of that saber dancer?
for Karakuri, it's generally more difficult for them to kill a Saber Dancer. However, they are able to like prevent Saber Dancer from being summoned.
Mm.
So something they can do is search a Karakuri Cache Shed, and the Cache Shed can negate a spell and trap, spell or trap, and then generally one negate is enough to shut down the lights. It's
Okay.
just a matter of knowing, hey, this is I'm playing against Lunalights. I have to search a spell and trap negate.
Okay, so probably a matchup we'll see a lot of is Shiranui versus Lunalights because I feel like everybody's gonna have those one of those two decks. So how does Shiranui deal with the saber dancer?
So the Shiranui matchup against Lunalights, uh, it's kind of close to even-ish. It really depends on what back row the Shiranui runs.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the thing about Shira is that Ballista Squad it targets, and that's one of their primary ways of getting their level 2 into the graveyard. So a common turn 1 from Shiranui is Solitaire, tribute itself, summon Spectral Sword, and then set a Ballista Squad. However, if Lunalights summon a Saber Dancer, then they can't target it, so Ballista Squad is dead. However, on the reverse side, if the Saber Dancer kills the level 2, then a Shogun Saga is able to swing over the Saber Dancer.
Okay.
So there is this sort of like back and forth, like each side has their strengths and weaknesses. Um, a notable quality of Shiranui is that they can destroy without targeting in some instances. So say Shiranui Squire Saga is able to banish a synchro for its effect, and if it does, it's able to pop the Saber Dancer. Or if you summon out the Shiranui Sun Saga, it's also able to pop the Saber Dancer.
All right, so between the two Shiranuis, everybody knows there's two, and if you don't, where you been lately? But there's the control Shiranui, and then the combo Shiranui, or you could call it the Ghost meets Girl Shiranui. Uh, which one do you think is gonna be stronger in this cup? Or are they gonna be about the same?
I think early on they might be about the same. If anything, Control might see a little more play near the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
However, I think as the cup goes on, there'll be more combo Shiranui if there is Shiranui.
Which one do you prefer? I know you don't play Shiranui, but when you do, which one do you play?
When I do, I think I prefer the combo version just because I like the ability to like play a little more aggressive. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Ghost Meets Girl has a lot of really cool plays you can do with it. And, you can set up interruptions, and you get to use a lot more of the Shiranui effects,
Mm-hmm.
whereas the control version is mostly focused around using the level 2 effect
Right.
multiple times.
Okay. It just seems like a more fun version of the deck to play. Just
Yeah,
watching it, I should say.
I'd say I enjoy playing the combo version the most.
All right. So I've heard in the past that you've done all right in these Casey Cups. So I know you've been at the bottom of the ladder, you've been at the top, you've been close to the top, almost the top, all that good stuff. What are you expecting? Let's say in the lower zones, let's say the 0 to 20K range. What do you think the meta is going to look like down there?
I think there's still going to be a lot of control in the early stages. Um, I think part of that's just because Shiranui is such a popular deck, I guess I should say. Due in part because of its accessibility.
Quick question: more
Um,
Shiranui than
yeah,
Lunalights?
I think in the early stages, I would say so, yeah.
Okay,
You're more likely to play against Shiranui early on than Lunalights.
okay. And then what else do you think you'll
And
see down there?
then um, I think in the lower ranges, um, you can kind of see a bit of everything. So it it
Just the Wild
the only
West,
thing I can
just a lot of
yeah.
Shiranui.
You'll also probably see a decent amount of say Dark Magician, or you know like an assortment of like invoked decks, or essentially you can see anything really,
Okay,
because everybody starts at 0 DP. So
right.
literally anything,
Anything's
if it's being
possible.
played, you can play against it at that range.
It's probably the most fun part of the tournament if you're, not trying to win the whole goddamn thing. All right, so let's say the mid range. I don't know what you consider mid range. Let's say 20,000 to what, 60, 70,000 maybe somewhere in there.
Yeah. So that sort of range, I think you'll start seeing a little more of the aggressive strategies. Um, and I also think you might start seeing more of like Crystrons and the more like, I guess, combo decks.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll definitely see like in those like middle ranges, you'll see more players that are familiar with like Crystrons or Karakuri or combo Shiranui. And I also think around those ranges, you'll definitely see more of the like aggro decks, as I mentioned.
Really, you think
Um,
Lunalights are gonna be that high up? And
I don't know
Dragoonity.
about
I'm sorry,
Lunalights.
Dragoonity. Really? I'm looking
When
at you,
I
Night
say aggro
Fox.
decks, it's a range of decks. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe early on, there are more, the aggro decks you see are more Lunalights or Dragoonity. However, as you go on, the aggro decks will mostly be Cyber Dragons.
Okay.
If I were to guess.
If I were to guess, Dragoonity is going to take second in the KC Cup
There
because
have been a lot of
they take second
crazy.
place everything in every event they do. Every time they get into a tournament finals, they take second place. So I
If
would
they actually get top 10, they'll get third, I think.
they'll get 11th. That's what's going to happen.
It's possible.
But
I
okay,
mean,
so
last KC Cup,
yeah.
you know, last KC Cup was really wild, but
Well, yeah, there was
yeah,
Megaliths, and then some guy was memeing with Trimids the whole time. So I mean,
yeah, some there was Triamids. Some third place global got used light sworns. So
you just
uh,
never know. You just never know.
yeah,
Okay, so you we were talking about the mid range there. I guess I didn't really ask you. How do you think like Crystron's is gonna do? Do you think they got a chance? They're gonna get in there?
Cristrons, I definitely think have a chance. It's gonna be a lot about what else is popular at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So Cristrons are very good in the sense that they have a very balanced matchup spread. However, I think against combo Shiranui in particular, they struggle a little more, I should
Mm-hmm.
say. So combo Shiranui typically runs multiple copies of Sealing Ceremony of Catan,
Yep.
and Catan banishes graveyard cards, which is really difficult for Cristrons to deal with, as
Right.
it like stops their plays, stops their follow up, and generally it's difficult for them to win games if Catan is live. So I think if combo Shiranui is like more relevant in those ranges, then Cristrons might have a hard time. However, if there's not as much combo Shiranui, then I think Cristrons will definitely excel,
Mm-hmm.
um, taking on a lot of the aggro decks.
What about your new favorite deck, the girl in the red dress, Magician Girls? Where do they fit into all this?
All right, Magician Girls, I think they're viable, but they're a little too honest.
Honest? What? Hang on. I've heard decks called a lot of things in the past on this show, but honest is not one of them. Please explain.
All right. So, you I guess this I'm not sure how much this term is really used in card games, but I know it's been used in like fighting games or like Smash Brothers, where if something is honest, it's usually more balanced. It can have like strengths, but it usually does have weaknesses.
Mm-hmm.
Um, if you were to use the define it by its opposite, a dishonest deck would be very like um, imbalanced. Can like win without any interaction. Generally, like blows out the opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Has auto win hands. Um, you can kind of see that uh, the other like the aggro decks or like Shiranui or Crystron's
Mm-hmm.
or Karakuri, they do have these like auto win like scenarios. If they have like this combination of cards, then they like have a 90% or whatever win rate if
Right.
they see these like select few. However, you don't really see that from Magician Girls. Um, so that's why I'm saying they're a little more honest than some of the other decks.
So it's a polite
Granted,
way to say they suck. Am I getting that right?
no,
Oh, okay.
maybe a little, but no,
Okay.
no, no. But some decks just like they don't have that
That
auto
winning
win.
combo, like the starting hand that they're just gonna blow you up with.
Yeah,
Okay.
they're more of a grind. Like they
Mm-hmm.
will play the slow game and slowly try to edge out the win. Um, and I think in a tournament format, especially, that's really good because it's like very reliable, very steady. But in a KC Cup format, when people are just like Hail Mary cheesing their wins, or like
Right.
just Trunade OTK or Cyber Dragon setup OTK or Lunalight um, Fusion. all right, let me just go in OTK. Like when everybody's trying to run these like OTK decks, it can be very difficult to run a deck like Magician Girls
Or
when
Dragoonity. I noticed you didn't mention them, so again, don't play the deck, folks.
all right.
So you keep saying cheesing out quick wins. Now, in previous interviews that we've done, you've talked about maybe it's not about the quick wins, it's about the quality wins, right? Maybe your win rate's higher, but you have fewer games. Are you still sticking to that, or are you saying go all in?
I think there are times, I think most of the time, it's better to have like a higher win rate than a higher win speed. And I think in the past that really rang true. I think especially last Casey Cup, like Triamids, like that's not a fast win deck. It's a balanced deck. like
Right.
um or Crystron's that one KCGT, that's like, like a combo deck. It's not like quite as fast as some of the other
Mm-hmm.
strategies. Um but there are times when uh just going for win speed can be the correct option. And I think this Casey Cup might be one of those
It
times.
might be
I
one
don't
of
want to
those times.
say for sure this is definitely the solution, but I think um, if you're expecting the meta to be all just like control Shiranui and invoke Magician Girls, I think you should maybe take a moment and see what might happen if more people are running these more aggressive strategies.
Now, I hate to interrupt, but you just lost a red eye slash in your Casey Cup stage one. I just had to point that out. So
All right.
if you're
Thanks.
if you're like I want to be a good player like Neg, just remember even Neg can lose to red eye slash.
Okay. I see how it is. Uh,
So the title of the video or maybe on the thumbnail will be it's all about the wind speed
um, maybe with a question mark.
with a question mark and an exclamation point repeating
I don't
after
know
each
about
other.
the exclamation point.
Oh, okay, just the question mark.
At least the question mark, and then from there either go a second question mark or go an exclamation point. I'm not
Oh,
sure which is
okay. Yeah, we'll have to discuss that after
more
the
ideal.
video. Yeah. So what do you think the point range is going to be on this one? 100,000, 120,000 if you're talking about lots of quick wins?
I think you know, I think something you have to think about is that this KC Cup is a lot like the KCGT KC Cup, or
Okay,
the
how
one
so?
in June. So if you look at the meta decks, or the decks that are available at the moment, um, the only things that really have like changed since June are now we have Karakuri, however it is nerfed, and we don't have Element Sabers. If you
That's a
think
good thing.
about like all of the other decks, if you look at Crystron's, we still have the same deck, but it now has another semi-limit. If you look at Shiranui, we still have the deck, and it's I guess it has a semi-limit on Squire instead of the Spectral Sword. Cyber Dragons, we still have the deck, but it now has a semi-limit on the um, Overflow.
Hmm.
Um, Even like Dragoonity and Lunalights, like these decks are still around, but now they have semi limits. Um, there's so many decks from that period that are still in the meta or like still playable.
Right.
Um, or you look at like Dark Magician, for example, it's the same deck, but now with Rod to 2. Or, you know?
So it's basically the same meta.
Yeah.
Is that a good thing? Do you like that? Does it make it easier to prepare, I guess?
It may Okay, so it makes it easier to prepare, but it also makes it more annoying, I should say, because um, part of the KC Cup is like you want to win by having like some sort of like advantage, whether that be preparation or like
Hmm.
planning or having like a secret deck. But since all the decks are kind of the same, there is no what secret deck is there? We
Oh, okay.
played
Here
this
comes the
game.
misdirection, folks. Here comes the misdirection. Go on. Go on.
Okay, I see how it is.
No, I
Um,
see how it is. Don't give me that. I know what you're doing.
no, it's like if there was a secret deck, would we have found it? Why wouldn't someone have tried to abuse it in June? You
Right.
know, like the decks that performed well in June, were like Cyber Dragons or like uh I'm actually gonna pull up the KCGT article.
Well, there have been new boxes since then, and maybe something has come out that is at the bottom of those boxes that people didn't notice. That the Galaxy Brain folks saw, and they're like, you know what? I can slide this into a deck and make it unstoppable.
If someone is successful with that, more power to them. However, uh, just as like I know, for example, I know Lunalight sounds weird to like keep bringing up, but in KCGT in June, Lunalight's got third place global. Nobody talks about it, but it's like that did happen.
That did happen. That's pretty.
And
That's pretty good.
yeah,
I mean, you
and
don't win anything for it, but
Cyber Dragons got fourth place global. So it's like these aggressive decks, they might not be played in tournament. They weren't played in tournament back then either, but it's like they're fast and they're aggressive and they can win fast.
mm-hmm.
So watch out because there's a very real chance that they'll pop up in KCG
All
or
right.
not KCGT Cup.
Completely dark horse deck. What do you think? Um, do you have one of mine? Because I have one of mine. I'm gonna see what you think. Because no one would have expected megaliths last time. Do you have any decks like that in mind?
Um, I'm thinking Ritual Beast might come back a little
Mm-hmm.
bit. I think um, for example, they performed well previous in like KCGT, so there's a strong chance that they might come back. Um, Considering the meta has not changed all that much.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but other than that, I'm not really sure how much unexpected stuff you could say. I suppose maybe Black Wings could see a resurgence in some shape or form. Um,
What about this Dark Cavalry Turbo that we're seeing in tournaments lately?
are people playing that in tournaments?
Yes, we saw it a lot on Battleface Sunday.
I had no idea what it
Oh,
was.
it's gross, but it's kind of funny to watch too. It's like turn one dark cavalry every time,
Every time?
every time,
Okay, every time.
every time. Unless you interrupt it, but yeah, it uses hex uh sealed fusion, or you know what I'm talking about, that
Yeah,
card. It uses
and
that.
then I think I've seen something like that on ladder. It's like Charge of the Light Brigade, and then you
Yep,
know uses right in and
yep, all
whatever.
that good stuff gets it going. What about something like that?
Uh, if if a deck is cheesy and it can win, then if it can succeed, it can succeed. If it can succeed anywhere, it's gonna be in KC Cup. So
At least in the lower ranks. Okay, what about the water shark deck that we've been seeing lately?
um, that deck is actually kind of fun. I'm not gonna lie. It's like neat just to see or like you summon Great Old Dragon and
Mm-hmm.
then it can float into say like another Great Old Dragon or it can float into the Shark XYZ
Yep, the spider
and
shark.
just like floating back and forth is really neat. But um I'm not sure how fast it can really be, how like sustainable
Mm-hmm.
that sort of strategy would be. So as much as I like may think it's a cool idea and like fun to play, I would not venture to say that it's going to be, like taking over the top 100 or
Okay,
anything like that.
I think we just confirmed next deck, but we'll move on from here. We'll move on from here. So are you gonna go hard this time? I'm assuming that you are.
I definitely want to. I just I feel like there are times when I'm not sure what I want to run, and then I may like play I may try to like play KC Cup anyway, and eventually try to find the deck that I want to run.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but generally, I would prefer if I knew what I wanted to run beforehand, so that I could practice it.
Well,
So
I noticed your Discord status is what is it? Do not disturb. I am testing. Is that true, or is that just leave me alone?
uh, that is it's pretty true. I let me let me for proof of concept. I know these names don't mean anything to anybody, but like rest assured, I'm doing a lot of games.
Are you
Just kidding.
okay?
Yeah.
Like how many games?
A day or like in general?
Yeah, a day. Is that all you do? Because you have like real life commitments, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
But like
I do.
I do make time I do will make like time each day to like, think about, all right, what do I want to like run in KC Cup, or like
Hmm.
what's my game plan for this KC Cup, or like is there anything that could like, beat these decks and these decks?
How many
Um
hours a day you spending on it?
um I'd say at least a solid 2 hours,
Okay,
maybe three.
okay, that's not as much as I had feared actually.
Oh.
I thought you can be like, oh, 6, 7 hours a day.
No, as I don't know, how as fun as it may be, I don't think um that would be like a job.
Right.
That would make Yu-Gi-Oh my job.
Yeah, and you don't want that, right?
Yeah. You're making you're making work out of your hobby, I guess.
So it's just a few days away right now. It's what, Tuesday as we're filming this. So are you getting ready to stock up? Are you going out and getting your ramen noodles and your Red Bull?
I'm getting my water and my sleep schedule ready.
Oh, okay, that's right. Yeah. Are you gonna do the thing where you go to bed early the night before or whatever, and then try to get up at midnight?
Yeah, that's the game plan.
Are you really?
I mean, I really I would
You
like very much to win a KC Cup.
you've already won a couple, right? Like one in a RRQ or something.
Yeah, but
That
it's like
that's not enough. You can't let other
it's
people
not
win.
enough.
It's not enough. Wow. I'd hate to
Until
see
there's
you
like,
become president because I think you just go for massive power grabs because being president would be enough.
well, it's like there you can all right, if the goal is to be the best, it's like a lot of people can be the best. But if the goal is to be the best ever, then it's like only one person can be the best ever.
Well,
So
I
you have
think
to,
what you're looking for is the best that ever was.
or yeah,
Right. You want to be the very
yeah,
best, the best that ever was. Right.
for sure.
Like no one ever was, actually. Right. I
Yeah,
believe. I'm going to be the very best like no one ever was. There we go.
that sounds very familiar.
It only took
But
me
yeah,
6 tries to get it. That's the magic
yeah,
of
well,
editing. No one will know.
yeah, no one will know. Just cut that in post.
Wait, oh,
Um,
here is a hard hitting question from the Twitch chat. Neg, where are you from? Are you from the US or Europe? Sorry. Sorry. Oh, that's a good one.
all right, is that Is
That's
that
actually in
it?
the Twitch chat on your stream right now. I can see it.
Oh, it's did someone actually like open my stream?
No, I have it open. I'm playing your stream live, so
Oh, okay.
yeah, so I can
All
see
right. All right.
the questions people are asking.
Oh,
Is
all
it
right.
is this combo Karakuri or control Karakuri? People are asking.
Yeah.
All right, so you want to be the very best, like no one ever was.
Yeah.
This this is the road to that, right? When do you know you're the best?
I think it's arguable that now I might be the best,
Whoa!
but the goal
Damn!
is not to
Listen to
be
this
arguable.
guy. He's got his thumbs under his suspenders right now. Yeah, no big deal or anything.
But the goal is not to be arguably the best. The goal is
Oh,
to
okay.
be the best.
So how do you know when you've moved beyond arguably to the very best, like no one ever was?
Well, it's like you got to do something nobody else has done.
Which is what?
Win how many KC Cups?
Right, but what's that number?
I have no idea.
Okay.
But once I win another one, I think it might be enough.
So if you have two KC Cups in our RRQ, will that be enough?
I think it might.
I don't think you're complete until you do two in a row.
Okay, now you're kind of tempting me, Circus, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing.
You got to get into that Worlds format and win, right? I think that's when you're the
I
best, like no one ever was.
I'm waiting for that, that ticket, that plane ticket. And as soon as Konami is ready, they'll I'm ready when they are.
Well,
So
you didn't like last year's format. You don't think that was enough? What if you had won that?
in like KCGT or
Yeah.
I mean, I would have I'd gladly take it. However, I wasn't it I went 4-2,
Yeah.
it was unfortunate. It happens. Thankfully, I was able to help my friends Zayd and Cairo prepare.
Well, I think what I'm hearing is you're calling Zayd a fake champion.
No,
Oh, okay.
I think you're putting words in my mouth, Circus. So
You guys know we love Zayd here, and all the people
yeah,
that are hating on me right now don't realize that Zayd is a longtime viewer of the show and a good friend. So we love Zayd King and Cairo. They're all good peoples.
yeah,
All
all
right,
great.
all great, including Neg, who's arguably one of the best players there ever was.
Arguably,
Arguably. All right, we're gonna get out of here. We're gonna see how Neg does. I'm assuming that you're gonna have to get first place if you're gonna get back on the show, man. Second place ain't gonna do it anymore.
it's gonna be very, very sad if I don't get first, but
I,
I
I
will
it was
give it
it
a
was hard
shot.
enough to have you on here with a second place win last time. It was just like, fine, I guess we'll get you in here.
Yeah,
But yeah,
we have the slot open.
yeah, we got to fill it with somebody. So, all right, guys. I hope you enjoyed the interview. Make sure to get into the Discord because that's where we have all of our tournaments being hosted. They're lots of fun. Also, we have a new player help channel, which Neg is now going to be in there. So just go in there and ask Neg for all the help that you want if you're a new player. And make sure to
That's a
hang
joke,
out.
by the way.
What's that?
That's a joke, by the way.
It seems pretty real to me. And make sure to show up on Saturday nights where we're going to do a new player streamer. Neg will be the main streamer slash caster. So if you have any questions, you can ask him there. And he's also looking for a Clan Wars team or a clan if you're looking. So make sure to hit him up in his DMs.
Great.
All right, I'm gonna get out of here. I'm Circus. That's Neg1.
Peace.
We'll see you next time.